My wife beat me and accused me of cheating. Her best friend manipulated her with lies while I raised our baby alone. But when we got to court, Ashley got exposed as a liar, and the judge left everyone speechless. I'm 29 years old. I work in construction as a project supervisor, and what happened in the last few months basically destroyed my marriage and almost destroyed me too. I guess I should start at the beginning. When everything was still okay, or at least when I thought it was okay, Nicole and I met in college. We got married like 5 years ago, and honestly, we were happy. I mean, we had the normal problems any couple has, but nothing serious, you know? We both worked. She was an administrative assistant at a law firm. We had our apartment, our future plans, all that stuff. When we found out she was pregnant, it was like, wow, this is real. We're going to be parents. And yeah, we were nervous, but also excited. Like that good kind of nervous you feel when something important is about to happen. The birth was in December, and that's when everything started to change, though I didn't see it coming at all. Nicole had a complicated delivery. Very long, like 18 hours or something, and in the end, they had to do an emergency C-section because the baby, Ella, wasn't coming down properly. Everything turned out fine in the end, like mother and daughter healthy, but Nicole was really affected. The first few days in the hospital, I already noticed something wasn't right. She barely wanted to hold the baby. She cried a lot, didn't sleep at all. And when I asked if she was okay, she just told me she was tired, that it was normal after birth. I didn't know much about these things, honestly, so I believed her. I thought it was part of the recovery process. When we got home, things got worse. Nicole didn't want to get out of bed. I had to do everything. Change diapers, prepare bottles, clean, cook, and also work. I took 2 weeks of paternity leave, but obviously it wasn't enough. When I went back to work, I was exhausted, literally functioning on like 3 hours of sleep per night. But I thought it was temporary, that Nicole was going to get better, that she just needed time. I suggested several times that she go to the doctor, that maybe she had postpartum depression, because I had read about that on the internet, but she would get angry and tell me no, that she was just tired, that I didn't understand what it was like to have a baby, and then Ashley appeared. Ashley was Nicole's best friend since high school. They lived together before we got married, and they always had a very close relationship, like those friends who tell each other everything. I never really liked Ashley, if I'm being honest. I always felt there was something weird about her, like she was too possessive with Nicole. But I never said anything because I didn't want to cause problems. When Nicole had the baby, Ashley started coming to the house every day, supposedly to help. And at first I was grateful, you know? Because someone had to be with Nicole and Ella while I worked, and I thought it was good that Nicole had her best friend's support. In February, they offered me a big project at work. It was a commercial construction that was going to last like 3 months and paid overtime, pretty good money. I needed that money because the medical bills from the birth were coming in. And we also wanted to move to a bigger house now that we had Ella. Nicole told me it was fine, that Ashley was going to help her during the day, so I accepted the project. I started working like 10, 11 hours a day, sometimes even Saturdays, and when I got home I was destroyed. Nicole looked a bit better, or so I thought. She was more active, dressed up more. But there was something different about her, something I couldn't identify, but that made me uncomfortable. One night I got home like at 8, like later than normal because we had a problem with some permits, and Nicole was there with Ashley, both of them sitting in the living room drinking wine. Ella was asleep in her crib. Nicole saw me come in and said, "We need to talk." And I thought, okay, maybe she wants to tell me she's feeling better, that she's ready to go back to work. I don't know. But no, what she told me was, Ashley told me something very interesting today. And I was like, what? Not understanding anything. And then Ashley, with that face she makes when she thinks she's right about something, tells me, "Kevin, where have you really been all these nights?" And I was blank. I mean, what kind of question is that? I told her, "Working, obviously, you guys know I have this project." And Nicole says, "Ashley says no project requires that many hours, that you're probably with someone else." I couldn't believe it. I literally couldn't process what I was hearing. I told Nicole, "Are you seriously accusing me of this?" After everything I've done these last few months? And Ashley interrupted and said, "Men always look for excuses, Nicole. Don't believe him. He's being too defensive. That's a sign of guilt." And I was so angry, so frustrated, that I could only say, "You know what? I'm not having this conversation." And I went to the bedroom. Nicole followed me and started yelling that I should show her my phone, that if I had nothing to hide, I should show her my phone. I gave it to her, like, "Here, check everything you want." But she didn't even grab it. She just kept yelling that I was ruining our family, that she knew it, that Ashley was right. That night I slept on the couch. The next day Nicole acted like nothing had happened, but I knew something had broken between us. During the following weeks, things got more tense. Ashley was at the house constantly. She practically lived there. And I felt like every time I arrived, they would stop talking, like they had been talking about me. Nicole started checking my phone when I slept. I know because once I woke up and saw her doing it. I asked her what she was doing and she said she was just checking the time, but it was obvious she was lying. In March, things exploded. I got home on a Friday like at 7. It had been a horrible week at work. We had problems with a subcontractor and I had to work every day until late to fix it. When I entered the house, it was a mess, like clothes thrown everywhere, drawers open, papers on the floor, and Nicole was in the bedroom, literally emptying my closet. Ella was in her crib crying. She had been crying so much that her face was red, and she was soaked with sweat. I grabbed Ella and tried to calm her while asking Nicole what she was doing, and she turned around and yelled at me, "Where's the evidence? Where are you hiding the evidence?" And I'm like, "Evidence of what?" Totally confused. She told me that Ashley had told her that surely I had a second phone line, or that I was keeping hotel receipts or something like that, and that she was going to find them. I told her she was going crazy, that she needed professional help, that this wasn't normal, and that's when she hit me. She punched me directly in the face, on the cheekbone, and it felt so hard that I saw stars for a second. Ella was still crying in my arms. Nicole started screaming that I was driving her crazy, that it was all my fault, that she was a good mother and a good wife and that I had ruined everything. I just stood there with my daughter in my arms, with my face throbbing with pain, and all I could think was, I need to get my daughter out of here. This situation isn't safe. I put Ella in her carrier, grabbed her diaper bag and some of my things, and told Nicole I was going to my parents' house until she calmed down and got help. She followed me to the car screaming that I couldn't take the baby, that she was her mother, but I was already decided. I put Ella in her car seat and left. I drove to my parents' house. They live like half an hour away, with my hands shaking and Ella crying in the back seat. My parents got scared when they saw my swollen face. I told them everything. Well, a summary of everything. And my mom told me to do the right thing, that my priority was to protect Ella. That night, like at midnight, literally, midnight, someone knocked on my parents' door. It was Nicole with Ashley. My dad answered, and Nicole demanded that I return her daughter, that I had no right to take her, that she was going to call the police if I didn't give her back. Ashley was standing there with her arms crossed like she was my judge or something. My dad told them it was late, that Ella was asleep, and that they should come back tomorrow at a reasonable time. Nicole started screaming and crying, and my parents had to close the door. I was upstairs in my old room listening to everything with my heart beating like crazy, holding Ella, who miraculously was still asleep. The next day, I went with my parents to consult with a lawyer. The lawyer told me I needed to document everything, take pictures of my bruised face, write down everything that had happened, and consider asking for a restraining order. He also told me that given that Nicole had physically assaulted me and had left the baby alone crying while she destroyed the house, I had solid grounds to ask for temporary custody. That hurt me a lot. Like the idea of having to fight legally with my daughter's mother, with the woman I married. But I knew it was necessary. Nicole called me like 50 times that day, sent me hundreds of messages. Some were aggressive, like saying I was a kidnapper, that I was going to lose everything in the divorce, that she had witnesses, obviously Ashley, who were going to testify against me. Other messages were sadder, begging me to come home, that she was sorry, that she was just stressed. I didn't answer any of them because my lawyer told me not to, that any communication should be through him. Nicole's parents called me like a week later. They were worried about her, They told me she had lost a lot of weight, that she barely ate, that she spent all her time crying. They asked me if I could bring Ella so Nicole could see her, that maybe that would help her. I didn't want to. Honestly, I was afraid that Nicole would try to keep Ella, or that there would be another violent scene. But my in-laws insisted they would be present the whole time, so I agreed. It was horrible. Nicole was unrecognizable. She had lost like 10 kilos, had dark circles down to her neck, her hair all messy. When she saw Ella, she started crying and held her, but I could see she was shaking, like she could barely hold her. We were there for like an hour, Nicole crying and hugging Ella, Ashley sitting in a corner watching everything with her arms crossed, and me feeling like the worst human being in the world even though I knew I hadn't done anything wrong. When I left, Nicole begged me to come back, that we could fix things, but I could only tell her that she needed to get professional help, that this couldn't continue like this. Like 2 weeks after that, my lawyer called to tell me that Nicole had filed for a restraining order against me. I couldn't believe it. According to the document, I was emotionally abusive, controlling, and had abandoned my family. Ashley had signed as a witness to all of this. From the hearing was in a week. I was devastated. Like, how did we get to this? How did we go from being a happy couple, expecting a baby, to this? My lawyer prepared everything, compiled all of Nicole's messages, the photos of my bruised face, testimonies from my parents about what had happened that night. The day of the hearing, I was super nervous. I hadn't slept in days. Nicole arrived with Ashley and her own lawyer. She looked a bit better than last time, but she was still very thin and pale. The judge heard both sides. Nicole's lawyer presented their case, basically repeating what the restraining order said, that I was controlling, that I worked all the time to avoid being at home, that I had kidnapped my daughter. When it was my turn, my lawyer presented all the evidence, Nicole's messages, the photos, everything. But the most important thing was when the judge asked Ashley directly about her accusations that I was having an affair. Ashley started stuttering, saying that, well, she didn't have direct proof, but that it was obvious from the amount of hours I worked. The judge asked her if she had ever seen anything concrete, if she had any message, any photo, anything. Ashley had nothing. Then the judge asked Nicole if she had any proof that I had cheated on her. Nicole started crying and admitted that no, that they were just suspicions based on what Ashley had told her. The judge got serious and told Nicole that she had falsely accused her husband, that she had physically assaulted him, and that she had put her daughter's well-being at risk. Then he looked at Ashley and told her that her unfounded accusations had contributed to the destruction of a family. The restraining order was immediately denied. After the hearing, Nicole approached me in the courthouse hallway. Ashley had disappeared. I guess she left because she knew she had been exposed as a liar. Nicole told me, "Kevin, I'm so sorry, and started crying again. She told me she didn't know what had happened to her, that after giving birth her mind wasn't working well, that Ashley had put ideas in her head and she had believed them because she was vulnerable. She told me her parents had convinced her to go to therapy and psychiatry, that they had diagnosed her with severe postpartum depression with psychotic episodes, that she was taking medication and felt a bit better but still had a long road ahead. I asked her why Ashley had done all this, why she had lied and manipulated everything. Nicole told me she honestly didn't know, that maybe Ashley was jealous of our relationship, that Nicole had a family and she didn't, or maybe she just enjoyed creating drama. She told me she had ended her friendship with Ashley, that she had realized how toxic she was. I didn't know what to feel. Like on one hand, I was angry, furious about everything that had happened. But on the other hand, I saw Nicole standing there so fragile, so broken, and I just felt sadness. Like 2 more months passed. Nicole continued with her treatment. I kept living with my parents, taking care of Ella. Nicole could visit us under supervision, and little by little she improved. She started looking more like herself, gained back some weight, smiled more. But when we talked about the possibility of trying our marriage again, Nicole told me something that broke my heart. She told me, "Kevin, I can't be a mother right now. I can't be a wife right now. I need to focus on my recovery, and that's all." She told me she wanted to sign documents giving me full custody of Ella, that she would have visitation rights but that she couldn't have the responsibility of taking care of a baby in her current state. We signed the papers like a month ago. Nicole has supervised visits twice a week. She's still in intensive therapy, and according to her parents, she's slowly improving. I got a job with normal hours. I don't do overtime anymore, and my parents help me with Ella when I need it. Ella is almost 8 months old now. She's growing well. She's a happy baby despite everything. Last week, Nicole came to visit Ella. She held her, played with her, sang songs to her, and for the first time in months, I saw a bit of the woman I fell in love with. When she was leaving, she told me, "Thank you for not giving up on her, for being the father I couldn't be a mother." And I could only say, "She's my daughter. There was no other option." Nicole left crying. And I stayed there with Ella in my arms thinking about everything that happened, about how a single toxic person and an untreated illness can destroy an entire family. I don't know what's going to happen with us, if someday we'll be able to be a family again or if this is the definitive end. For now, I just focus on Ella, on giving her the stability and love she needs. That's enough, I guess.